So we're talking about intergenerational trauma in the First Nations community. Just imagine a situation whereby you are forcibly removed from your family and be placed in a residential school where you suffer from all kinds of abuse, losing who you are and your identity. That's the right of the First Nations. So let's start with understanding what intergenerational trauma is. This could be said to be a long-lasting effect from past experiences that affect the psychological, emotional, and physical states transferred from one generation to another generation. For First Nations community, this is tied to colonization and residential school system. For the First Nation community, who we are, forcibly removed from their home and being placed to the residential school system, where they suffered from abuse, neglect, losing their culture and identity. So during the early 800s to the late 1990s, more than 150,000 indigenous children were forcibly removed from their home. When I said 150,000, I mean both the First Nation children, Inuits, and Métis. So during that period, a lot of these kids suffered a lot. Then when the residential school was closed down, this trauma still haunts them till today, where a lot of them suffer from substance use, suicide, anxiety, high rates in the criminal justice system, and substance abuse, and you know so research also shows that effects of this abuse being research also shows that effect of this abuse suffered by the First Nation children did not only affect the earlier generation, but we can still see it in today's society, whereby it still affects the current generation. And while all this is going on, losing your identity, the First Nation community still find resilience through elder-led healing, and so through this paper, I came in conclusion in my SWOT analysis. The First Nation still has strength. Their strength comes from the elder-led healing, whereby their language, tradition, culture is still trying to be revived. It's still trying to be revived through storytelling and community events. Also, when it comes to their weaknesses, I would say their weaknesses almost comes from depression, anxiety, the substance use abuse, and though they are still recovering, but also put that under their weakness. But when it comes to their opportunities, they have many opportunities. Let's use the TRCC, supporting government to listen to the court action from the past trauma the First Nation suffered. So yeah, they still have the opportunity to gain back their culture, getting back their identity, trying to connect with their family. They also suffer from many threats. Threats like barriers, lack of funding, lack of support from the government, systematic racism, and both the criminal justice system. Also, overrepresentation in the criminal, overrepresentation in child welfare among the First Nation communities. I came up with intervention to tackle these issues, expanding the community indigenous-led and trauma-informed care healing to other remote communities, so they can have easy access to this healing, like getting medical for their mental health. So I also came up with encouraging cultural revitalization and youth leadership program. This trying to reconnect the youth to their culture, language, and identity can also help break intergenerational trauma using school-based approach, like in having indigenous classes on elder storytelling. Thank you.